Hello AOS fans, Robin here, and I'm back again with a deck review for you. And what have we got this week? Well, I've cheated this week. Time has been pressing, as I've said in live streams, and I've taken a deck off of Underworld's DB, and it's I'm playing Thundrik's Profiteers. This is the deck that came 6th. There was a higher place deck, but that was a Tomes based deck, which I played Thundrik's with Tomes a few weeks ago, so I thought I'd try something different. So my plan wasn't to completely steal this deck. I thought I'd take it and maybe adapt it a little bit to my playstyle, but when I started to look at it, I kind of felt that actually it all worked very, very well, and there's very little I could actually change to make it better, which is not surprising really, as it did come 6th at the Grand Clash. I'm not a fan of combination strike as a card, so I thought maybe I'd take that out, but actually I couldn't really think of a better alternative for it. So I've left it in. The only concerns I had, it's sometimes when I've played games, cards like Death from Afar, Headshot, and Steady Aim, and even What Armour. These cards can get bricked up if you can't get off the card that you need. So Steady Aim requires only successes, which is, although you've got people with a couple of dice, that can be hard to pull off. Headshot, you've got to get a critical hit, which does seem to happen quite often, but there are times when you can't. Similarly, Death from Afar, you've got some positional shenanigans you might need to do there. So I was a little bit worried about the hand breaking up, but I'm guessing it's pretty consistent because it came 6th. So I'm hoping that I will find that it's consistent and that it can score glory quickly and easily. So we'll see. So what cards have we got? Well, there's Headshot, as I said, but if you get a critical hit. Live by the Code. This is quite a good card. It's Thundrik's only, and it basically, if you don't discard any cards, you can score 1 glory, and then you're not allowed to discard any otherwise. Well, this is a good card for these guys. It's very rare in a turn you use it up with an activation, discarding one. The only slight problem is if you've got something that you can't score for some reason, that you can't throw it away if you wanted to, if you want to score Live by the Code. But that's a small downside, I think, especially with this kind of deck, because most of the cards, whatever you've got, you're going to be looking at scoring them in the next turn. So I think that's fair enough. Sound Finances, score an end phase if you have 5 or more unspent glory points. Again, towards the end of the game, it's good if this card comes out, not so good if it comes out at the beginning. Calculated Risk. In most decks, we all know what that does. Combination Strike, score this in end phase if you score at least 2 objective cards in the preceding action phase. Cautious Me is aware that that's not always that easy. If you get, probably you're going to dump your first hand if you don't get any surge cards. But if you only get 1, then you might keep it. But then what if you don't put another one out? Or what if you get one that you just can't score for some reason? But I've left it in because I'm assuming the deck is consistent and works. So I'm hoping that I will score that. Death from Afar, kill somebody from 3 hexes away. Get the Hence, another one that I feel could brick up. It's another surge card. I think it's you've got to have knockback in order to score it. And I think there's only one Thundrik player who can give you that, so I'm a little bit concerned about Get the Heads. Keep Chopping. I think I've said before, Thundriks ironically are really good for scoring. Keep Chopping because you can keep shooting. What Armour, you've got crit options here, so What Armour's a good choice. Steady Aim, got to get 2 successful rolls. It's likely to happen in a game. Whether it happens at the time you need it remains to be seen. Path to Victory, so a newish card here. Score this in end phase if 1 or more enemy fighters have taken out of action in the previous phase, and you hold 2 or more objectives. Well, you've got the range to shoot people. It's great against small warbands. And 2 objectives. You've got numbers. You've got bodies. So it's definitely scoreable, that one. And finally, Supremacy. This is an interesting choice. Don't know you see Supremacy in Thundrik's decks that often. You've got to get on 3 objectives. Well, we'll have to wait and see whether that's manageable. Okay. Gambits. We've got Seek the Sky Vessel, basically extra move actions with 2 fighters. This might be one of the best cards in the game, and of course it's Thundrik specific, so it's never going away. I think it's a really, really nice card. I think most people would take that if they were given the choice. And that's going to help you with things like Path to Victory and Supremacy, so I could definitely see why that's in there. Toxic Gases, one of the more fun cards in the game. I wish the game had more cards like Toxic Gases. That's the one where it enables you to they make a choice. They either suffer 1 damage or push that fighter up to 2 hexes. Now it tends to be in the current meta with the placement of lethal hexes that you're going to look like probably just taking 1 damage each time, so you don't get any positional disadvantage and still have to go through a lethal hex. So that's Toxic Gases. Encroaching Shadow. If somebody's on an egg hedge, they suffer 1 damage. So again, we're looking at attritional damage here. I think we've got Pit Trap and Lethal Wards, all ways of doing attritional damage. Haymaker, extra 2 dice can be really good, especially things like we're looking for armor and headshot as you go looking for those crits. Lethal Ward and Pit Trap, so damage on an objective, damage obviously being pushed back. Standard Shoot, this is a really good card. I think it gives you an extra attack action option for keep chopping as well, because it enables you to make an attack in your opponent's activation, so it gives you an extra activation, which effectively will give you a free option if you didn't want to shoot with somebody in one of your own activations. So that's a nice card, and obviously it's a free attack, which you're going to get to use quite a lot, I imagine. 2 steps forward, another really fun card, so you get a bonus, but your opponent gets a small bonus too. Frenzied Search, get somewhere an objective, draw cards, always useful. And Restless Prize, for moving objectives, either disrupting your opponent's plans or helping your own, again with Path to Victory or Supremacy in the deck. And then the upgrades, Ancestral Fortitude, which is +1 wounds. We've got Tome of Vitality as well as +1 wounds. There's no Great Fortitude, ironically. We've got Magmalt Draft, which reduces damage by 1 to a minimum 1. So popular card. Archer's Focus, a shoe-in for this deck, especially now it's not restricted. Duelist Speed, so after a fighter's action, push them up to 1 hex. Again, a good card. Fighter's Frosty, so you're looking for criticals anyway, so this gives them +1 damage, which can make those rage attacks even more potent. Glory Seeker, there's often fighters with 4 or more wounds. Again, Glory Seeker, so if you get Fighter's Frosty and Glory Seeker, you can pack some damage. Maybe, but maybe you spread it out. Potion of Rage, extra dice, is used for same as Haymaker. Tome of Offerings, but it's effectively going to be 1, maybe even 2 free glory if you can get away with it, or if you're lucky, you're really going to clear spree, you get lots of glory, but it's definitely worth having. Tome of Vitality, as I said, plus an extra +1 wounds. And Survival Instincts, an interesting choice, this one. I'm guessing it's to help protect those objectives if you get on them. Basically, somebody's a quarry, then they go on guard, which of course guard, it cannot be pushed now, and you've got the defensive bonus of it as well, so that's an interesting choice, but I can see why it's in there. So that is the deck. I mean, it's a proven deck, so in some ways there's not a lot to say about it. When I look at these decks, I often think, well, that's not that different to something I would pick, but I think they probably do a lot better than I do. So maybe my positional play and game playing isn't up to scratch. Maybe my deck building's okay. Normally I try some quirky things, but this deck is pretty solid, and there's not much. As I said, I couldn't really think of any way of changing it without wholesale changes and then changing the whole nature of the deck. I think it's going to work really well. So it's proven. So we'll see how we go in the games. So until then, we'll see you in the Beast Grave. Bye.